Dave, you know, there's very few things that a catcher can say to a pitcher during the course of the ball game. And back in my day, when I could tell a pitcher was losing his velocity and the release point wasn't where it really should be, I would come to the mound and say, one of the things I would say actually was, make a better turn. Get your arm back. If you make that turn here, show me one number on your back, your arm is going back easily. You're not forcing it to go back. Less problems with the rotor cuff and all the issues and everything. If you make a good turn, you get more velocity and you build arm strength. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree with you, Rick. And I think the reason that we don't see it as much with guys is because everybody's cognizant of the fact that they want to be quick to the plate, and especially out of the stretch position. And clearly we want to try to throw the same out of our windup as we do out of our stretch, and that way at least on our takeaway with our hands. So if I'm in a position where I'm out of my windup and guys now, you see all the guys now, they modified it. Nobody does the drop step anymore. They're already turned sideways. So it's basically getting to that balance point and separating. And you'll see guys out of the stretch, they come up and they're so cognizant of the fact that they want to hold the runners and everything. They kind of open a little bit so they can see. Then what happens is they basically go and they never close off. And so they're trying to be so quick at home, but the most important thing a pitcher ever does is make a quality pitch. It's more important than holding the runners close. Ferguson Jenkins, of course, great pitcher in his time. People talked about him because guys would steal bases off of him, and he'd say, I already lost that guy. I'm trying to concentrate on the next guy. If I can worry about this guy so much, this guy's going to be on base too. I'll have two of them on. So, yeah, you don't want to take it to that extreme, and I think he was kind of being facetious to some extent. But what he was trying to say is that, yeah, I need to watch the guy, but the most important thing I do is make a quality pitch to the next hitter so he doesn't drive that guy in, whether he's at first or second or third for that matter. So I think the way I used to do it, because I was really aware of the fact that I needed to turn and I needed to load, so to speak, and you were talking about with your hand going back. So what I did was, of course, I was a slide step guy. Dick Bosman taught me, was talking to me about it in Rochester, and I would come up and I would always load here with my leg. But what I wasn't loaded with was my upper body. So even though I would come here, I had to make sure that I got my hand back and I turned my body so I could get loaded back here. But I tried to do it very quickly. So what I would do is I would come up, and after I would be open, I would load like this. So as my hand came back, I also would close that shoulder off. And then I was ready to go home. Closed, loaded for bear, as you talked about, with my best stuff. Wasn't very good stuff, but it was the best that I had. Whereas opposed to if I go here and I simply just jump out the hitter, now I'm all arm. I've got no body to work with. I'm right here. I'm not even getting the extension back here that I really should have because I'm so worried about delivering the pitch home in case that guy steals, just in case. He probably won't, but just in case. And then I don't throw consistent quality pitches to the plate. So I think the pitchers, even if they don't open up like I did and kind of go into that crouch, you get here, you got to vary your moves to first base. You got to make sure that you watch him. You got to be able to see him. I think a lot of pitchers don't even look over there to see. They look here at the shoulder. They have no idea where the runner is, because we see all the time guys will throw over there, and the guy hasn't even taken a lead yet. So I think that what they need to understand is that, and the young pitchers need to understand, they need to make sure that they load. So when they come up, whether they're open, closed, and they can turn their neck really, their head really far and go over there, in the end, before they throw that pitch, they've got to get loaded. So they got to do exactly what you talk about. They got to throw their hand back and pull that left shoulder, if they're right-handed pitchers, obviously. They got to pull that shoulder closed so they can get about one number, as you see, one number on my back, and now I'm loaded. And now when I come through, I got my lower half working all the way through my upper half to help flow with my elbow and hand to get a consistent release point.